Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this world's edition. Oh, that's a good start, isn't it? This week's edition of the Inworld Review, and this is the first of two shows where we're going to be looking at Hypergrowth Safari. More to the point, the year's adventures on the Hypergrowth Safari. And to get a good start here, we've sort of loaded ourselves with pictures and video memories for January, February, March, April, and May. And next week we'll be doing the whole thing again, starting with whatever month is after whatever I just mentioned. Right. Okay, let's get rational here. Okay, my name is Mal Burns. I think many of you know that, but for those of you who don't, you do now. Next to me on my right hand side is James Atloud, who's the man who loves sitting and fiddling with knobs and filming and all sorts of other things. He takes care of all the audio technical stuff for the show. And when at least when he's comfortable with his sits, he sometimes opens his mouth too. So welcome, James.
Oh, once in a great while. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. This is a blast. Thank you, Mel.
Wonderful. Yeah. And on my left-hand side, it's the wonderful host of Safari, but also, of course, my regular co-presenter on this program, none other than Thirza Ember.
Hello, everybody. Nice to be here. I'm very happy to be on the show once again, next to the best host in the business, Mal Burns.
Yeah. And sitting between us, making sure we behave ourselves, is Dog. What's the dog's name, by the way?
He hasn't got a name. If you want to start a competition to name that dog, that would be very cool. I would enjoy
Okay.
that.
Okay, folks out there, can any of you know? We will have a competition, and we will choose the best sounding one, and then we will send you a present, which is actually a link to whatever show we announce the winner on. Isn't that good of
Sounds
us?
like a plan.
Okay, and we're also joined in studio by one of our regular Safari people, but you also know her from HIE, and she's a great friend of ours, does all sorts of stuff with us, and it's none other than Tosha Tyran. Welcome, Tosh.
Hi guys, nice to be here.
Wonderful to have you here too. So the plan this week is just to get a few formalities out the way, then just plod away through pictures and videos.
Mm.
Week. Um, Hypergrid Business. No, sorry, blog Science Space. We're quite fans of Science Space here, though it's not open sim. Um, but they had their awards show about a week or so ago, so colliding with all sorts of other stuff. But they've got a little blog up basically with all their award show winners, I should say. Many of the people, Mimi Marie, Carsten Stark, these are all people you've probably seen in Open Sim and even Second Life as well. A lot of cross fertilization of the avatars here. So some quite interesting stuff there. And Hypergrid Business had a post this week about OpenSim active users hitting an all-time high for the holidays um, by David Kariuki, who never comes in Worlds. So I'm not entirely sure how he knows all this stuff, but I think he has sort of picks up all the press releases and jumbles them all together and comes up with a long blog. Because the headline is never actually the entirety of the blog. A thing on Wolf Territory is a grid here, which is now the largest grid by land area, with 26,832 standard region equivalents. And that's followed by OS Grid and Kitely. It must be the first time in history that OS Grid has not been the biggest legacy wise. But yeah, uh, Wolf Territories.
I love the way that article says the definitive closure of Avitron.
Oh, like
Who
definitive.
are you kidding? That's
Yo,
like a
yo,
soap opera that
yo,
can't
yo,
end.
yo, 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 yo. Yeah, quite. Right. What's this? Talking about open source again. Popular Grids, Screen Wolf Territory, GBG. Not even sure what that stands for. Great Britain Grid, maybe? Have we got one? I don't know. Digiworlds is there, of course. Neverworld is down at 9, which is in Littlefield, Big World there, 10. Abbey Worlds, that's Yo-Yo, isn't it? It's on the list anyway. Eureka World. Anyway, it's got a list. Then it's got a whole load of more information, and then where all the parties are going to be over Christmas. I suspect some of these, LF Grid, for example, I imagine a few of these are coming up from Thirza shortly. But anyway, this if you want more of this, you want to check out hypergridbusiness.com, hypergridbusiness.com. And the sign space was blog.sign.space. So let me remove those so they're not cluttering up my window when we dive into all the rest of our stuff here. And that is fairly good to go. Right. So I'm going to, no, first of all, I'm going to hand over for our hypergrid happenings. So Thursday has a regular roundup of what's happening on the hypergrid, and we actually extract this section of the show into a short, 5-minute or whatever it is take, and we post that on YouTube on the Inworld Review group there. So it allows people on the Fastbook to have a short bite, as it were, rather than inflict the whole show on them. If you want the whole show, there's plenty of other places you can get it. Right, okay, so for hypergrid happenings, it's over to Thirza Ember.
Yeah, hypergrid happenings once again. Of course, there's lots of things happening at this time of year all over the hypergrid. As you can imagine, there's parties galore. Every region, every sim, every grid seems to have multiple things going on, which is great news for everybody. So I would like to show you, first of all, something that's happening right now as we speak. It's the Kitely Holiday Party. They've just begun. In fact, I just got my invitation from Cooper Swizzle. Thank you very much, Coop. Can't come though, but everybody else run over there to skate, dance, do some snowball fighting, and of course with the great music of the DJ Rose Alexiev. There are Christmas presents too, so go and grab yours. That's Koshari Mahana's party over there on Kitely Grid. Next up is
don't ever head over there to the show is over though. Remember, you got to
well, you can do both, multitask.
Yeah.
I'm not going. I'm going to sit right here where it's warm. Here's a fun thing that's happening on Tuesday. I haven't really added too many of the parties because they're fairly ubiquitous and easy to find. But this is a fun thing and unusual. It's a soapbox race. So it's a lot of fun to be had over on Fun Size Dinkies. This is on alternate metaverse grid, and it's our good friends Sophie and Ted who are running that region. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That's on Tuesday at between 8 and 10 a.m. So that's early evening in Europe. Another fun thing that's going to be happening is on Wednesday, at the time that we would usually go on safari, if safari was in season, it's a hunt made by Ange Menges and, of course, Nanny Ferguson. And that is happening on a region that they have built called White Meadows. It's only open for a few days. I tried it the other day. The region's closed until the 20th, which is when we're going to have this event. But Ange let me in, and it's just amazing. It's a lot easier than the Halloween one, which was really very difficult. So this is a lot easier, and it's a lot bigger too. There's like 40 different items, and there's loads of other freebies around that you can just copy as you're walking around. So it's a really fun event. I think everybody will love doing that. That's at 12 noon Second Life time, or that's 9 o'clock here in most of Europe. Another really interesting thing that's happening, this is organized by Rogue Parsons here on OS Grid. It's a region called OSGSE, let me say that again. And she's having the first annual holiday ice skate event. So there'll be some music, you can skate, you can dance and have some really good fun. That's happening on Thursday. Another thing I wanted to mention is Zone Nations grid. They're looking for new membership. It's a lovely grid. It's run by Druskus, who many of us will know. He's an old bee from the early days of OpenSim. He's always had his own grid. He was Clone Life was the name of his grid back in the day, and he's very active in developing all kinds of things. He works with Joomla and other different elements of the back end of OpenSim too. And he's looking for more people to join their grids. It's called Zone Nations. You can go over to zonenations.com, look it up, make a membership, see if you like it. It's a fun grid, and they're really nice people. Another really, really interesting thing happening in these days, of course, Lone Wolf of Wolf Territory is very proud to be able to say that his grid is now officially bigger than Second Life, which is a really big deal. But he's also started this marketplace. Now, the marketplace is very cool. If you have a sim on Wolf Territories and you have items, and you don't have to ask money for them, they can be free items on this marketplace, unlike some marketplace websites where you have to ask money for every item because the person who's running the marketplace gets a cut. That's not the case on this particular marketplace. And it's really cool. He made a video of it. So if you go over to Wolf Territories video archive on YouTube, you can look it up. What it is if you have a shop on Wolf Territories, you can actually set it up. So if all your stuff is already in boxes, you can set it up so that the software will actually identify all the boxes on your region that are for sale, and it will put them into the marketplace. So you don't have to manually upload all the information into the marketplace website. So I thought it was really cool. So imagine if you've got like 500 boxes of things, it's all boxed up, it's got its texture and everything. I thought, oh gosh, now I have to copy all this into the marketplace website. Well, no, you don't, because Lone is a genius. So those are some fun things that are happening this week. Of course, there's loads more happening, loads of parties, loads of fun events. So please make sure you look on OpenSim World, on Facebook, and all the best places to find events that are happening, and support your local party goers and be part of the events on the Hypergrid. And just to remind you, if you do have a special event, a project or a party, some kind of class that you teach or an opening, do let us know, and we're very happy to mention it here on Hypergrid Happenings.
Well, thank you very much, Thirza, for Hypergrid Happenings. And I don't think we've got anything much to report on Inweek. It never ceases to amaze me, not how many blogs there are on Thirza's Safari blog, but she's got a definite way with her words when it comes to titling them. Some of them are a bit corny, I admit, but most of them have got, it's got a nice little play on words for various things. And the first blog of the season actually had the title "Back in Busyness." We have that up on our middle screen at the moment.
I get it.
Sorry?
I get it.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good.
I don't get it. Can you explain it to me?
Well, you see, it's like this other word, but it's spelled differently, and that makes it funny.
Oh God! Somebody outside revving an engine. God, I can hear it 6 floors up. Never mind. I hope that's not disturbing. Are you? You probably can.
No, it's
I'd
not
like to
bad.
apologize for that barking.
Oh,
Oh, barking.
oh, that's okay.
Cars.
It wasn't actually me personally, but it was somebody associated with me.
No, there's a car going off at my end. Actually, they're like some of these weekenders. They like to rev their cars for a few hours just to wake up the entire neighbourhood and then go vroom on they're off. Burning up petrol just for the hell of it. They'll never learn. But yeah. Anyway, I didn't actually hear the bark, but I'll bark back if you want. So maybe he'll reply, or she. Nah.
Yeah.
Not having any. I've scared it off. Okay. Some of the pictures from that buzz it is a nice one. Crushing the hyperverse since 2014. And of course, we've got the iconography of an actual sort of safari here too. So yeah, very witty, I'm
I
sure.
love that graphic.
Um, a graphic. This is for Discovery One. Now, this is a build we went to, and we're going to show you in a minute. I guess it's not much on this particular blog. Um, if any of you remember 2001, the Space Oddity, the end bit has the astronaut going into this long, majestic sort of spaceship, heading on out to Jupiter. I don't think you get, yeah. Back in those days, Jupiter was the end of the universe. I think still is really in terms of getting places. But this is rather fun. It was run by a computer called Owl, and the astronaut was Dave. And this is a rather odd sort of schematic, basically, but you maybe remember that from the movie. This is what the build looked like. This build actually took place over several long regions, so it was a long journey, and uh, you actually went through a pretty hallucinogenic journey if you walk through there where my mouse is pointing, and it's sort of the visuals take over, and you're just wandering. You lose, it's designed to make you lose a bit of sense of your footing, I guess is the case. And again, if you've seen the movie, kind of the stuff that happens there. Um, this is about something else completely that happened. I think this is another visit on the same week.
That's actually that I know what that is. That's virtual world zones. That is that I was just talking about.
Oh,
It's
really?
yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay, so this is the Back in Business blog anyway, so I guess it included a bit of everything here. And then that. So there weren't a huge amount of pictures on that one. And the first real blog of the season was Setting the Tone. And this is what I mean about the plays on words. The musician or sound artist is his better description. Is a guy called Lauren Tone, and he was working with a woman called Alia Soulstar, two names that convey a sense of excellence. And here it is again. These pictures all come from that journey to the. Come on, where the thumbnail? Maybe there aren't any thumbnails. Oh dear, this isn't going well, is it? Um, okay, I thought there were.
And
Yeah.
maybe try that blog post, the most recent one that has a lot of these pictures in it too.
Okay, yeah, indeed. We got a special blog post. I forget actually that Thirza just did at the top of the list here. Um, while I'm going to come up to date, um, I'll probably work down the list here. Okay, Safari 2023 Part 1. Okay, and we have a few pictures here. We've got about 20. So, oh, yes. Well, this is a good example of what happens when you head on down the corridor of doom.
Wasn't that a great build? I thought it was incredible. What a combination of Alia's building skills and Lauren's sound
Oh yeah, it was
skills.
great. Yep. We may have lost Mal on voice. I think we have lost Mal on voice.
It is basically. Here's a long shot. And this is one time of year where if we can see clearly, which we can't always do, we can sort of. I noticed there's a chap called Mal Burns, the old version there, and he's got a mask on under his head, and I noticed from the hair there that there's a Tosha there too. But it's actually nice to have some of my friends there and give them a sort of heads up on this show. So, either of you recognise anybody else?
I think Kelso was there, and Debbie Chi was there, and I see Tina Bay, and I see Nara,
Oh, you
and
got
I
better
see
eyes.
Vidic, and yeah, loads of people.
Yeah. We'll probably see a
It was
few
a great
more in
visit.
other things elsewhere. Yeah, you got better eyesight than I have. I can barely see myself there. Right, let's move on this. And okay, now this is where this was a virtual world, Wales. Sorry, Wales, as in the country that's attached to England, as opposed to the sea creatures that are under the water off the coast. Coffee. Well, I don't know what that stands for at all. It's a genuine name. I think that the lady in the foreground here, I think was our host, wasn't it?
That's right, Susie.
That's Susie. Yeah.
Susie Evans' night.
That was a
Uh,
lovely, lovely place, wasn't it?
um,
Yes, so this is an
I see.
interesting region because it's on a Belgian grid called Speculus, and this is one of the premier regions. Very beautiful.
Oops. Sorry, I got mislaid here. I was actually trying to up the volume, my personal volume from Tosha. I could barely hear, but as you can see, I'm a stupid goof. Right, yeah, and of course we've got James there in his usual. He's not sitting. Gosh golly, what happened? James without a
Yeah,
seat. This is a
the lack
major.
of chairs.
There's
Yeah,
not
He
always a
looks like he's a
place.
think. You
Yeah,
kind of look like you're looking for somewhere to sit, though.
yeah, yeah,
You're
for
looking
sure.
at, so where could
always,
I sit down?
always looking for a
Is there
place to
anything?
sit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
But I mean, you have to
this piece of a
say.
postbox.
You have to say that this was a historical landmark event, James without somewhere to sit.
That's right. How many in Cymru Park did he do that? Can't sit down. Oh, now this is a picture of Yeko Katnap, who is a French artist. She's an artist in real life too, and this is her region called Never Ending Story. It's not a GIF; it's just a photo because I think I missed most of this actual event. It was unwell, but she took me around and she was explaining. She called it Never Ending Story because she's been on so many different grids that have crashed and disappeared, and she's lost everything. That she considers creativity a never-ending story because she's always building and starting again on a different place. And I asked her, "Don't you find that depressing, maybe?" And she said, "Not at all. Quite the opposite, because it always gives you a new opportunity to try something else and do better
Again,
every time." So I thought that's a
yeah,
lovely attitude.
I can sympathise with that. I mean, in a virtual world where nothing is permanent, and I don't mean by way of design, by accident too. It's yeah, it's the best to have a
And the place
attitude like
really
that, really.
is quite
Right, what did
Oh,
you
wonderful.
say, Tosha?
I said the place is quite wonderful. It just looks so real, like a little French village. I really
Exactly.
loved it, and all the surrounding also, and the landscaping so beautiful.
And it's incredible that she had just redone it, considering considering how many times she's had to redo it. It's
Yeah,
marvelous.
yeah,
So this picture shows
amazing.
us on Littlefield Grid. We're at
this.
Shishi's place, which is Ruritania, and this is Mal contemplating I think it's a
I know
schoolgirl
this.
spanking outfit.
Yeah, you had to put. I can't remember this at all, but I took one look at it and thought, oh, well, there's my old
Yeah,
avatar,
sure. You
and
can't remember anyway.
I'm looking at everything on the rack there, and do I want to be a kinky schoolgirl? I think that's a schoolgirl type skirt and blouse, and obviously the underwear is somewhat less schoolgirly. Well, who knows? Schoolgirls are schoolgirls, aren't they?
Mm.
Yeah, I seem to have been taking a rather unhealthy interest in whatever's there. So noted that you managed to clip that. I think I better move on. Ooh, the Tuesday.
Ruritania, of course, Ruritania is an imaginary place, and a lot of people know it. The novel about an adventurous young man who impersonates the king, and it's a great story. But Ruritania is a region belongs to Jishi, and she is English, and she loves puns, and she loves references to old films and old TV shows. So the whole build there references old films. For example, this train station represents the movie Brief Encounter, which is a really old movie, romantic movie. But there's loads of funny things also. So if you know English TV shows or if you know old movies, black and white movies, this is absolutely a beautiful build to visit. It's huge and loads of stuff to see.
I don't know either. Not old TV shows, not British shows and old films, not either. But I really love the region and this very plush train station and the old trains going around. I was there a few times, a couple of times after the safari,
Oh,
and
really?
I must say, I really kind of liked it going there by myself because I did not have to follow all these hints and the movie here and the movie there. I just could go the way I liked to, you know. So I really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
it's a great build. It's wonderful. And that's on Littlefield Grit.
Right, well, without flicking back through the photos, I realised we passed over one of the whales. It was about two pictures ago. And I noticed here I actually got it titled. I've actually got some video clip of that whales one as well. So this is silent, of course, so it's there for us to talk over just a couple of minutes of it. I can always fast forward if nothing's happening. Yeah, this is the Wales region. And Chris is, of course. Where would we be with our four-legged rides?
It's a lovely region. It's not an exact representation of any one place, not really. It just represents kind of. It's built by somebody who is Welsh, who lives
Yeah.
in Wales, and loves her country very much, and so she's trying to sort of represent the very distinctive style of houses, and that wonderful grey stone that she's really captured the
Oh
look
yeah,
of Wales.
and I think she said that she made it a little bit, like the actual place where her daughter lived right now. So
Oh.
it's very real.
Yeah, and the castle looks just like a real place, Castle Koch, which is a gorgeous castle not very far from Cardiff.
Mm.
She's really skillful in her build. She made a fantastic thing for last year's OS Fest, which was representing a sort of a cottage from the 1700s, exactly how it would have looked inside and out. It was a beautiful build. She's really talented.
I especially liked the pathways and the way that we could maneuver through the build.
Yes.
It was
Yes.
very fun to explore.
Yes, that is true.
Effortlessly walkable, really.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
not easy to do.
No, not at all.
And then she didn't make us run, which is always a plus. for
That's a
me.
good.
It's like me climbing stairs. No, thank you. I don't make it
I
usually.
can do it, but I can't type. I can't ask any questions as well.
Right.
One or
Yeah,
the
it's,
other.
it takes all the. It's a very funny thing, isn't it, about walking, say, over the bridge there or along a pavement or something. The when it's proportionately the right size for a couple of avatars to walk side by side, it's more awkward virtually because people when they're walking as avatars are never quite well, they're always a bit more wobbly than they are in real life, if you know what I mean. So it's more of an ordeal to actually get through a space that under organic circumstances would be manageable. So yeah, good when people really think about the walking experience. Okay, let me switch back to the other window if I get it right. Yes, there we are. So back on the picture collection. Let's move on. Happy birthday. Ah, well, this is somebody's birthday, but more to the
That
point,
was Dorina's world.
Tarina's world, that was it. Now, I've definitely got
That's
some
correct. And how
film.
old was Dorina? Well, not Dorina herself, but the
Do
grid
you
was
know what?
13 years old. Can you believe it? 13 years that Dorina's world has been
Just
rocking,
amazing.
open
Yeah.
sim. It is.
Yeah, it's got to be one of the oldest grids around, no?
And while you see the same people, old beasts who you know for years and years, moving around from one grid to another. It's really exceptional that they've been able to keep the grid going. It's not a huge population over there, but they've been able to keep it going with the quality of the builds and the quality of the friendships, I guess you could say as well. for 13 years. That's really outstanding.
Just see a quick swap if it's going to. I'm not sure it wants to happen.
I think it's pretty interesting that we just had Littlefield grid and then Dorena's world kind of side by side here, because in Littlefield grid is a very stable grid, but one of the reasons why they consider themselves stable is because all the regions are surrounded by water. And Dorena's world is a very stable grid, but they pride themselves on having most of the regions connected so that you can walk from one region to another. So I guess that just proves that OpenSim is voodoo or something, because both grids are equally stable and they do things completely different ways.
Right, I've dug out some of the extra photos here from another blog, basically where you got the one from. Who do we know in this picture? Maybe it's having fun, a popular party for the birthday. And I see somebody with wings. I think, oh, I should know who that is, but of course I can't. I don't.
I think it's probably, isn't it Star?
Probably
I think it's
Star.
Ravenhouse.
Right.
Yeah, could well be.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, everybody is having fun, but it's just not quite close enough to actually pick up.
Yeah, it's too far away.
Pick up yeah. Okay, well, a little bit more Dorena's world here. We've got long shot there.
Yes, there's loads of really good shops, and especially in the West End region, it's very good. So, especially if you're looking for nice clothes, but they also have quite 2 or 3 different art galleries on the regions that you're looking at right now. So it's worth taking a good look in all the different buildings, because none of them are empty. But there's plenty to discover.
And
yeah.
This, of course, is Grid Talk. Can you talk about that, Tosha? Do you know that Grid Talk? Do you ever consult it?
No, I never attended.
It's
But
one of the
what I-
oldest forums, I think, in OpenSim.
No, I didn't. But what I thought, or I think every time I go once in a while there to Dorena's World also, because I kind of like that, I can talk my more natural language, let's say German, which is very few times I talk it, and I don't really normally like to use it even. But in Dorena's World is something special. I love talking German there. Not in other places, not with other people, but there I really do like it.
Yeah, Bogus Curry, who started Grid Talk, he very kindly came involved and did an interview this year, also explaining how he started it. And it's a forum. If anybody, German speakers, have any kind of problems or technical questions, or are looking for something, they can consult that forum and get an answer quite quickly.
I should go. I should go and have a look there.
He's a
I
lovely
haven't so
man.
far,
He
but
really is a lovely
I
person.
might just do that.
So this is this. Do you recognize that?
Oh, what's his name?
It's
Yes,
kind
I've
of
got
confusing,
I
because you would
don't
say
remember
it
the
should be
name, but I
red
do
because it's a
remember.
red dragon sim of Fox Boat.
Yeah. This is like a little enclave. I guess it's his personal sort of palace, isn't it? And it's quite big when you sort of start panning around in it. I do have some film, but I'm hoping I find it, but it's not actually labelled, so we'll have to see later if I think it's around. I think it will come up.
So Fox has been obviously in OS Grid forever, and he's one of the admins on the grid. And these are his regions that have been here for many, many, many years. It's quite unusual for us to get to go there and do a safari, because he usually says something about, you'll crash my sims. But I think he's took down some stuff to give us a little bit more room on the server to make it possible for us to visit. So it's a special opportunity to see where he hangs out when he's not doing admin stuff.
Yeah, I love when people sort of panic and say, "Oh, you can't come visit me. You'll crash my sim. You'll crash my sim." And come on,
we have
mate. All
crashed
you've
quite a
got to
few
do is relog.
sims.
It's not actually going to go anywhere.
Yeah, but be fair, we have crashed a lot of people's
Oh
sims.
yeah.
And
Well,
they
back
don't
in the
enjoy
day,
it.
that was our motto, wasn't it? Invite to Safari to your sim, and we'll crash it for you. Something like that. I'm sure we had a motto like that. back in the day when it was inevitable. All right. Now we got one where we can probably point out the people. Point out the
And
people.
this
There is the
and
old
this is
master Mal, and who else have we got? Yeah,
and that's Fox who's smoking something illegal or
yeah,
possibly
yeah.
legal. It's hard to tell.
Depends what countries he's in,
And
actually.
I can see
um,
Nara, I can see Star,
there's no,
I can see
yeah,
Beth
Noah's
Ghost Raven,
behind me
I
there.
see Lucy in the background, and I
Right,
think that's Una de Cal standing by her.
right. So we have
Pretty
some
much all
close-ups,
this.
maybe not enough,
Oh,
but
and that's the lady in the green top. That's Total Sorbet. Of
ah,
course, we all know from the scripting that she does.
yeah.
We had a. Do you remember we did a show about what's it called, Chat GPT with her?
Ah, yes, indeed.
Yes.
Oh yes, I remember. That was interesting.
So it's
Yeah,
unusual for her to join us, but that was lovely that she was able to come along. And here's a man with hair,
a
Harry
submariner.
Thor.
Harry Thor, a submariner for Harry.
So this is one of those trekking through the sim safaris, but Harry handled it really well, I think. He kept stopping and explaining. This was on Bridgemere. It was the Atlantis region that we went to
Oh
visit.
yes, oh yes, that was
Coming
the
out of
one.
that little tunnel or cave, whatever it was, and coming face to face with that shark is not particularly exciting. Well, it's adrenaline going, yeah, but
That was the region where you had from up you had this beautiful view over the village, and then you could go through the sewer practically underground, and most of the things were underground, and underwater rather. I thought that was quite interesting.
And that's by Amaranthine, or as we call it, Amara Allen. She built that. She's
somebody
hanging next
managed to
to Harry.
find somewhere to
And
sit
then I found a man sitting down.
At
and
least I can
geared up,
breathe. Right.
geared up for underwater scuba diving too. So it's a scuba sitting. It's not scuba diving; it's scuba
Scuba
sitting.
sitting. It's new.
Yes,
And
this
those are
is
actually really lovely
super.
seahorses with
Yeah,
saddles
beautiful.
and everything.
Yeah,
But
Right.
good picture that actually. Yeah.
I didn't get a very good shot of it, but I couldn't miss taking a photo of James
Yeah.
sitting down once again.
All he needs is a pair of underwater goggles to replace the spectacles, and he'd have been away.
I need my
Yes.
spectacles.
I kind of like that phrase, scuba sitting. It's just made for you. Yeah,
It's relaxing.
absolutely. So you can resist that shot. I do understand. So moving back to. Oh no, it's moving back. There we are. Sorry, I'm getting jumbled up here. Ah, more people do Gorkat. Right. Is that you more or less centre there next to James? I think it is. Thirza, isn't it? Or have I got it wrong? You're in a bit of a micro skirt and long boots.
I can see Dr. Dave. I can see Yuka. I can see, who else is there? Oh, I can see Nara. She's
I
very
see.
easy to
Yeah, I see Nara. I
recognize.
see Beth on the
Yeah.
right.
That's too.
Wonderful Nara is very easy to. She
She
rather
doesn't
like
change a lot.
me. Yeah, rather like me. She's always in the same costume and stuff, and I can kind of recognise her.
So here we're in California. We're in the desert.
Oh, right.
And we're getting
Ah,
ready
I
to go
remember
and see
that.
Burning Man.
Mm-hmm.
And this is on. Anybody? Groovyverse.
Oh, Groovyverse.
Yes,
Very
Hyacinth Jeans, beautiful red. We were guests of
Yeah.
Yuka, Godell, and Dr. Dave and the Burning Man group.
I'm just
That's
I
definitely not California.
oh, I have oh God, I'm sure I had some other stuff for Groovyverse, but I can't find it offhand. Oh, what happened there? Sorry. It's not easy to juggle all these windows at the same time. There we are. Right, better move on here, or I'm just doing the right screen. Oh gosh, that was a really dark one. 13. Oh, Oh well, that's so too dark, so we better move on to this. There's Whirly. Where is that?
Yep.
No. Yeah, Whirly.
Yeah.
Whirly, busy bird. Yeah. Yeah, has some quite good film footages too. Actually, it's very because this was Nix's build, wasn't it?
Hmm.
And I must admit, when I was filming, I was getting lost in Nick's verse, and
So
trying to cam
beautiful.
back
Yeah.
to find the performer or the audience or whatever. You know, I was camming all over the place, just trying to find a solitary dot that might be one of the people there. You know, I eventually
Because the
found
builds
him.
are so enormous, aren't they? That
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
he makes it. This is like an 8x8 or something, and it's just and then he builds in your 5,000 meters in the sky. So it's
yeah, it's
incredible.
like eight by 8 regions, but also 8 regions tall. You know,
Mm.
yeah, some people like being grand and successful as well. Oh, this is actually something different, but almost a pity we can't hear the music here because this was an astonishing in-world musical instrument, and
Mm-hmm.
all those drums and things play sort of when you hit them, and all these cats are part of an orchestra, which sort of makes up the chorus sounds, and you can't see it from a GIF here really, but um, it's astonishing. I don't know, in fairgrounds and things, they used to have like those old pipe organs and things that had motors, and they played themselves, right? And you know, might be able to go and see some circus guy backstage turning a wheel, keeping the engine going, so to speak. But everything was going round in a kind of loop, and this actually reminded me of that. I mean, the whole thing had been composed. Every song these lot were performing with this instrument were different songs. You know, not all on the spot, so to speak, but over the months they've produced quite a few YouTube videos of different songs, or different pieces is probably the better word. You know, played by all the components there. There aren't any exhaustive instruments there. For example, there's a lot of percussion, as you can tell. There's very little meowing going on, though you might think otherwise from the animation here. But
And
there's no.
I actually saw Cutie yesterday. She
Ah,
goes by the name Bloom now, Bloom Peters,
Mm.
which
uh,
is actually
Bloom,
easier
what?
because that's the name of Bloom, first name, and Peters,
Oh,
second name.
Peters. God, I thought you said something else for a minute.
Yes, and that's actually the name of the grid, the address of the grid. It's called Winxtropia, but the address of the grid is
Oh,
Bloom
yeah, Wingstroke,
Peters,
yeah.
which so it's good to follow to use her new name. And she was just telling me that she's got a whole bunch of new stuff about to happen. So this build probably won't be up much longer. There'll
Oh
be
wow.
something even newer and more magnificent in its place in the next few weeks. So lots of exciting stuff happening over there on Winxtropia.
Okay, well, shuttling forward to the blog where you covered that, and we got a few more pictures from that particular one. Very colourful, as well as the wonderful thing of all that music around you happening. It was quite interesting too. The idea really was that you positioned yourself in the middle and you would hear the sounds coming from all angles around you. Of course, when you got a whole safari on your hands, positioning everybody on the centre spot
Mm.
isn't that easy. So people really
Mm.
did scatter around a bit, but it didn't spoil the effect. It didn't spoil the music. It probably just lessened the surround effect in some cases. But there, I guess, there's you dancing, isn't it? One of them, yeah. Um, hmm. Can't tell where everybody else is. Let's move along.
That's Enoch Farstar with that magnificent costume, holding like a there. It's holding like a staff or something. Very there
Oh,
he is.
okay.
Oh,
Just a
here.
kind of green.
Right.
That avatar is like 1 million complexity. It's really really hard to
Oh
judge
dear. What
because he
an
built it himself. It's a fantastic piece of work. It just goes to show you that you can have a person with 1 million complexity, and we're still all able to be on the region, and we didn't crash it, even despite being extremely complex.
interesting. Yeah. Well, it would have been on his head if he had crashed, I guess. So,
Yeah.
yeah. What's on the next one? Yeah. Oh, we've got some more close-ups of dancing here. Oh, actually, we can see him a lot clearer here. That head is quite very alien
Well,
kind
he
of
made
head
all
with
that
the.
himself. It's
Yeah.
magnificent.
It is.
You, I'm looking for Tosha's hair. That's how I find Tosha in the
It's
picture.
exactly the same with me. I see that hair and I say, "There's Tosh."
Mm. Tosha,
But
tell us about that hair. How come you've got that hair? What made you choose that hairdo?
Oh, um,
ew.
well, I I was always fond of curly hair, and I loved always red hair. And I'm just sort of a pale blonde with rather not many curls. So I thought, well, that's my real life, and that's my, my wish life.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Excellent.
Yep.
so and I just kept um, experimenting with it, and I have had almost always red hair through all the time that I was an avatar, and I kept experimenting until I found this hair, and this I really love, and I wear it all the time. And I have a coat now, a coat with a hood, and the hood means that all the hair sticks out, and I changed the whole hair so it can be inside the hood,
Oh,
and then when I take it off, I put my hair on again.
Oh wow.
That's pretty cool.
and all you need is an animation where you lean over and shake your head wildly as if to fluff it all out
Yeah.
Yeah, that
as a
could be.
transition. But it's actually, I'm quite interested there. I mean, it is wonderful hair, but actually, I think one of the things about it is it does remind me of a real world hairstyle that I've seen on people. Not an everyday one, but sort of slightly derivative of the old Afro styles.
Exactly. It
And it
reminds me a
moves. I
little
like
bit
the fact it moves.
of
yes, yes,
Angela
that makes it.
Davis.
If it moves, it's definitely well. If it moves, yes.
Well, because most mesh hair these days, it doesn't. It's very rare that you find some that with that
Yeah.
movement, and it's beautiful to
And
see
this
when you're
this is
dancing.
half mesh and half flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always found that mesh and flexi doesn't really seem to mix. I really, as soon as I get a mesh hair, I think, oh, it's not flexi though. And as soon as you get a flexi hair, I think, oh, that's not very
Mhm.
slick, is it?
Well, I
Can't
think
win.
I obviously I didn't make this hair, but I think whoever made it, really great artist, um, used the mesh for body, and then the flex around.
Mm-hmm.
This,
Right.
by the way, this final picture on this blog is she's the one behind it, isn't she? This a puppet master look.
Absolutely. Yes, that's
Very,
Bloom,
very cute. Bloom.
at best known as Cutie Olala. Of course, she is famous on this grid, on OS Grid, for building Funfest way back in the day. One of the very first places that we came on safari back in 2014 was her
Wow.
fun fair, which was already very well established. And you often see, have you ever seen a castle, like a beautiful sort of it looks like a kind of a German castle with lots of turrets and a bridge. You quite often see them on different grids. And that also was built by Cuta Lala, as we call her now, Bloom. She's a really creative person. She's made so many things,
Mm.
ores available for people to use. So she's really talented
Her,
and
but
really
her
generous
brand
too.
was for the Cutelato Arts, I think, wasn't it, or something? Because
That's right,
I
artist
really,
is her last name.
I was always picking out stuff by her from different grids all over the place. The name was very
Absolutely.
familiar because when I picked it up and it said
Yes.
Cutelato Arts, I thought, oh,
And she's
another
just
one by
such a sweetheart.
yeah.
And I must mention her friend Bougie Gamer Girl, who was on the grid yesterday that we met. We were doing some exploring about what the next safari there might be. And Bougie was there, and hopefully we can go and visit her region that she has over on Weekstropia in the future also. Oh, now you're looking at this one. This is on Craft Grid. So Tosha will know all about this. This is Medora's region with her friends.
Oh yeah.
The
Yes.
Odyssey. Is it called Odyssey?
I don't
I
know.
think is
Really, I don't remember what it is named, but yes, I
and
do
they
recognize it.
do all the choreographed dances. Do you remember they did like the Summer of Love, all those hippie dances, choreographed dances? I'm sure that Mal, you were involved in one of those. They got
Yeah,
you dancing on the
they do
stage.
a lot of
I remember
beautiful
that,
things.
yeah, the Summer of Love thing I was dancing on, but that doesn't seem like, I don't think that was here, was it?
No, this is instead their region. This is a different part of the region, and these are, I think, the three graces or something.
Right, right.
Mm.
I can't quite remember.
Well, when I
Anyway,
opened the Hopi Pueblo, about the Hopi Indians in Arizona, the one sim I have, and um Medora and I always forgot her name, Tara. They came, and made some dances that was so beautiful. I mean, really, I made some like costumes for them, like that assembled a little bit of the was a little bit like the Hopi costume, the traditional ones, and they did such a beautiful show there. It was just out of this world.
wonderful.
Also with beautiful music.
And in this GIF, I saw Luna Lunaria, who again I recognized her by her hair. And here we are. We're on Neverworld Grid now, and this is their build, which is the story of the movie Total Recall, and
Oh, yeah, of
the region
course.
is called
Yeah.
Oh
Virtual
yeah, that
Recall,
that was a
and
cool region too.
you're watching the glass break and the atmosphere leaving the glass dome in this video, in
Yeah,
this
that
GIF.
was a cool
Oh my
region. So,
gosh.
though I don't have any idea of the movie either, but I really enjoyed the region. It was so cool. So many things to see also.
It's
So,
brilliant
and
fun.
this was Neverworld?
Yes,
Oh,
and Neverworld Grid had just announced that
yeah.
now that they are opening a new forum on their website, where you can ask questions if you have tech questions or information, or you just want to share it, or get some kind of tech help. So if you go to their website, it's neverworldgrid.com, I think.
Mm.
So that's a wonderful grid. It's always growing. So much happening over there all the time. New sims and new um, shops and new ideas. Wonderful place. And I think, yeah. And this one, of course, is this is Star's place. We went to visit. We've just
Oh
been to
yeah,
see a
oh
movie,
yeah,
and this is a book. This is a book that Star Ravenhurst has written. It's called
oh
Land of
yeah.
Sar, and she has turned the book into a region. Sort of represented all the various things that happen in the book in, well, not all of them, but part of the book in 3D. It's very clever.
Oh yes, that was really well made too. Astonishingly well made, I think.
Okay, and this is on this 20 picture compendium. This is the last one, actually, so we'll be moving on to some of the other ones. Actually, oh no, this is actually animated too. We can't really tell who's who at the bottom there, but that is a big, big tree compared with human
That's a
size,
tree of life.
anyway.
What do you call that tree, Miss Tosha? It's like the Viking tree of life.
Oh,
Yggdrasil?
Yggdrasil. There
Yeah.
you go. There.
I
That's
have
what
no
that is.
idea.
And this is on CCI Grid, which of course belongs to Soa Bad and Siwas. And this is the, do you remember that Viking build? It was so amazing with all the Viking houses and the shops and the sawmill and the ships,
Oh
all
yes,
those
that
Yeah,
was
things.
yeah,
cool. Yeah, that
yeah.
was really cool. And a
I
really
bet you
cool
remember
game
the communal
also.
toilets, don't you?
I remember the
Yeah.
lumber yard. Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And
Uh,
and
you can't sit
That
on the
place
lumber.
is
You,
nothing if not complete.
Right, right.
and that huge cave that was so mystical. I
Yes.
really like that also.
Yes,
And the
fantastic.
longhouse had a throne in it, didn't? Like the
Absolutely.
leader's
Yes,
throne.
and yes,
Yeah.
and with some interesting poses, I seem to
Yeah,
remember.
yeah,
Yeah.
that too.
Oh yeah.
So we're back with Medora now and her group,
oh,
and they were reading poetry. Um, I think in voice, most of it was.
Oh yeah.
And then Medora was helping us out with some translations and notes in.
Ah, James is sitting. I was just going to say, I didn't realize I had music on this, but I did. Yeah, this is just one of the films I had around. There's just so many here, actually, to be honest. Um,
Oh yes, that was a very beautiful excursion too, because you went with the poetry and the music from place to place. I really enjoyed that very much too.
Yeah, the Imaginals is the name of their
Mm,
group, of
mm.
course, and it's Alice and Medora who had that.
oh, no.
So
Since she is here, we
Oh,
have a folder called Tosha. It's actually got 5 movies in it, so I don't know where they are, but this is 2. Now, this, of course, is the tribute sim to Lumiere Noir, who Tosha knew very well, and well, it's basically all his film. He inspired a region called the Ivory Tower Primitives over in Second Life, and then obviously coming into
no, this is called Ivory City.
right, inspired a lot of this. And I remember him because Metaverse TV got him to
Oh yeah.
design a whole
Oh,
region.
that was such a beautiful region
And
too. I
I
love
had an
their
office in
ideas.
it, and when Rob decided he wanted a zombie shoot on the ground and a spaceship in the sky, it all went to bulk because he had to get rid of the old region. And it makes you think it's such a
Mhm.
shame when stuff like that isn't archived.
Yeah.
I know I had a little bit of film somewhere, but it was filmed just walking around. It was like prompting myself to find. I could never find my way back to my office there. That was the problem. And
Oh,
it'd be so delicate you couldn't even take a landmark after the time. But it was a wonderful build, and I think that's the first time I really experienced living in, as it were, working in one of Lumiere's environments. I
yeah,
mean, I've seen him
yeah,
his work before and stuff, and
yeah.
educationally here, but
He
yeah,
surely was a great artist, and I think what made it even more, he was such a great teacher. He just was dedicated to teaching, and he loved it.
oh,
Hmm.
this is this part of something of yours, Tosha, or is it
How
in the wrong?
Pueblo.
Is it the wrong? Maybe in the wrong folder. I don't know. Oh well, because right, this is yeah, this is very different. But the Luminaire Wild stuff is absolutely wonderful. Right, looking down Misty Isle. What did we do on Misty Isle? Oh, Stonehenge there. Any memories on Misty Isle here?
I think this isn't this the Imaginals build. Yes, yeah, I think it is.
Mm. Oh,
It's a
it's a
sort
long.
of a romantic take. Rexy built it, and it's a sort of romantic take on various parts of European history. They have a whole sort of mythology of it. Oh, and there's that tree again.
Yeah, we'll come back there. I'm actually thought, well, I'm going to go back to the picture blogs because rather than the videos, this is an easy way of of looking
I'm just
what's
thinking,
happening.
if you think about it, this is what we've looked at was 10 weeks in the 10 weeks from January to March, and then a few more safari trips at the beginning of the second season. And good Lord, how many different places we've been to. It's amazing if you think about it,
Mm-hmm.
how many different things we've seen, and how many interesting people we've come across. It's just been just a wonderful year. And obviously, we're only looking at the first part of it, but
Yeah.
what an amazing amount of variety there is in OpenSim. Just colossal.
Ah, look at this one. Lots of us meeting here again. Um, James sitting
Where I should be.
where you should be. Yes, exactly. Again, some of these photos are interesting. You think, oh, I see somebody, and then you realise that it's it's all long shots, and it's actually really hard to tell who's here. Oh, that's nice statues. This is in the zone basically, so it's all the zone nations grid again, which, so as I said, she focused on hypergrid happenings, something happening there this year, oh, this week I should say. Oh dear.
There he is, Duskus, looking strange, but
Probably appropriate. Was it Halloween? I forget. No, it was much earlier in the year. All right. Bit of a multinational sort of thing there. Yeah, it's a nice
I
name
just
for a grid,
I
actually.
just wanted to ask James if there's anywhere. Oh, I was wondering if James had any views, and Tosha too, if they had a favorite place that they visited or a place that surprised them more than any of the others during this year, that have stood out more than any other place.
Who's going first?
Yeah.
I'm pondering. I mean, it's just so amazing the variety of builds that there are and the creative vision that people have. I always like the places that tell stories, and I really did enjoy Star's region because I liked how not only was she building what she had written, but I think she was writing about what she had built. So it was a back and forth process, which I thought was really, really interesting.
Well, I agree with James on that. And I also like, the storytelling grids very much, but I also like the educational grids, and I also like, I don't know, I think the variety is what always surprises me again and again. The variety and the quality of the builds.
Yeah.
And maybe my favorite, just for the feeling, is I don't remember the name of the builder now. The French village.
Oh yes,
Oh,
Jaco's
right,
place.
right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just love that village, and I've been also there. I've been back a few times because I normally do that. I go back um after
Yeah, that
the
had the little
safari.
circus or carnival.
Yes,
Yeah, that was great.
and also the Norwegian grid I like very much.
Oh, that temple. Yeah, or the church. Excuse me, not a temple.
Yeah.
And this, what the pictures we're looking at too, just now, that was on the same grid.
Yep,
That was
yep.
Tromsø. I love builds that are imaginative, but I also really love there's something like the Tromsø build because you can. It's like you go on a tour without having to travel. I do love that. But my absolute favorite build this year so far, I can't lie, it was The Good Place.
Oh, yes.
By Bink Draconia. That is
Right, right.
absolutely the best build for me. I tell you why, because I didn't know the TV show before, because I don't watch very much TV. And so I'd never seen it, but I knew Bink is a very good builder. And I went to see it like, oh, this is interesting. Much like Tosha was saying that on the build with all the references to English TV, she doesn't know them, so she didn't understand them. And that was the same for me the first time I went to see Bink's build, The Good Place.
Yep.
She's on Pangaea Grid. But then after I saw the build, I watched the show and I just fell in love with it. I
Oh,
really
yeah.
enjoyed it.
Oh,
So
good.
yeah, that's why I love that best. Who is this getting
That's
killed?
funny.
I don't know if that was
No.
Kelso, but I also like I like George Harrison's garden. I don't know if I'm out of sequence, but
Oh
that's
gosh,
another
yeah.
memorable build. That was wonderful.
Oh yes, oh yes. But
Okay, this is Binks's. Binks's one you're just
really
mentioning.
difficult
Actually,
to
The Good
say.
Place. I'm not familiar with this TV show at all, but this is.
Oh, you have to watch. It's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
And she has exactly caught every single piece of the show, the spirit of it, and all the different things that happen in the TV show are in this build. It's just amazing. I don't even know how she managed to do it. So much
Good
detail.
place. I'm gonna have to
Phenomenal.
look this up. I was
Becky,
told before
she
this
has so
show.
many
So
nice
when you're showing
paintings.
when you're showing the pictures, give people a shout out if you can. But we've got so many pictures, I can't identify the people to shout out. Really bad. But I'm sure a lot of our regulars who are watching this show will see themselves in these pictures, even if we are rushing through and can't identify them that quickly. Oh, a line dance. There you go. The lady in the foreground, extremely energetic. Probably not on the same animation as the zombies. The good place. Currently still in beta phase. Right. I don't know whether I was even on this one.
I didn't see any errors. So I don't know.
I
Yeah,
mean,
the
I,
train,
I
everything worked
hardly,
perfectly. It
I
was just
hardly
brilliant.
ever miss a safari, but it's possible something happened on that one. I don't remember it. Maybe that's another reason I'm not familiar with the show. I may have missed this whole one. Very odd. The bad place. I like a bit of a contrast there.
Up to date.
This is the bad place. And that was a good place, and dark one there. Oh, that's sort of quite interesting.
Yeah, you have to watch the movie, the TV show, and then
Yeah.
every single piece that you look at makes sense because you've seen it in the show. That's the trick of it. It's a really great build, though. He's a very talented person. Pangea is full of great builders. They have so many interesting places.
Right, and this is our first visit to Deadheads on Neverworld as well. Of course, we had a show a few weeks ago dedicated to the Jerry Garcia stuff. But this was the picture post, as it were, from our original visit there, focusing on the actual build as opposed to paintings and content. But very psychedelic, very psychedelic.
Again, lots of
A
lovely
tie-dye
buildings.
snorkel kiss. I wonder what the sound of that is. Yeah. So typical of that sort of time and stuff.
Yeah, so all the art there is original art by Jerry Garcia and displayed in World, thanks to Jerry's widow, who allowed Ovega Zacatorta, who's the owner of Neverworld Grid, to bring it in World. And in fact, of course, there's a region with a museum dedicated to, or an art gallery really, dedicated to Jerry, which we visited. So there's another really interesting place on OpenSim. Just showing how many different places there are to visit.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed, that was an
Now
interesting
this I
place
seem to
also.
remember is this the NASA?
Oh, it's
This
Star
is
Trek
Lioness
Infinity.
Colony.
Oh, Starfleet
Yeah.
Infinity. Yeah. Another one of our crowd shots.
The place on the ground is called Lioness Colony. And then in the sky, there is 3 or 4 different spaceships, and there's a space station.
Space
And
Dock.
there's also
We got
another
quite a
thing.
lecture here in that lecture hall as well.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
regularly have these real world science persons come in and give a talk on some scientific subject. So it's actually pretty interesting if you're interested in science rather than just science fiction. Then it's really worth joining the group. They have a lot of interesting stuff happening, and you could just hypergrid over. You don't have to join it necessarily.
People taking turns of being Captain Kirk or the
Making
hot
it
seat,
so.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
The
Dobke.
Trekkie youth. There she is again. Who is that?
There's Tosha. And that's Alia sitting in
Oh,
the
Alia's in
captain's
the
chair.
hot seat. Yeah. Oh, no,
Yeah,
it's Tom,
she is
of
the
course.
captain of the ship, so she's sitting in the right place.
Yes, and I'm going in close to inspect. Are you sure you're captain of the ship, woman? Yes, I am. And if you don't like it, you can teleport out. Sorry about
It's
that.
like she was in the room.
But
That's
definitely
all. I
not.
can't remember her name. I wish I could. She's such a lovely lady. She's the ship's engineer. So she's in charge of the engines. That's her job. If you join this roleplay group, they actually assign you a role within the structure of the ship. So you become some kind of officer, and you're in charge of one or other piece of the ship, or some
You
kind of
mean
duty
you
aboard.
have to do work?
And they go, yeah, they go each week. They go on missions.
Yeah,
Sometimes they're on a planet. Sometimes something's happening on the ship,
yeah,
and it's all scripted. I think they have, if I'm not mistaken, 3 different ships. So there are 3 different groups
Yeah,
of people during the week doing these role plays, and sometimes they all work together. Like on special occasions, they had an event today that was a special occasion. But if you are only available at a certain time, then you can join that group, or if you're available at a different time, you can join a different ship. But it's really quite structured and well put together. And there's a whole backstory that you can find on their website, which is Starfleet Infinity. So there's the logs of what's happened in the past, so you can catch up with the kind of stories that they tell, and that they live out on board these wonderful ships that they're so beautifully scripted. Most of the equipment, it reacts when you touch it, so it's a very neat place.
I really like this picture actually. You know how it is when you've got lots of pictures and then one just slows you down and grabs you. I mean, I think it's just you feel the personality of her, the detail in what she's wearing and stuff, and then flanked by busy looking. I mean, I know it's all fiction and stuff like that, but you're convinced by all these multiple readouts behind her. I don't know. It just seems like if this was a real world science fiction TV show or something, that positioning and against that background could easily be used as a publicity shot. I think. So. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? Let's move on. Some more. Now, while we're on the science fiction, this is the one we were talking about earlier, Virtual Recall, which is based on the movie, of course. This is another one on. Am I on? Yes, that's right. Another one on Third Block Grid. I've forgotten what it's called now. Instant Recall. That sounds like a pop soup or something.
Total Recall was the
Total
movie.
Recall. That's it. The original version, by the way, there was a remake which took place on Earth between 2 hemispheres, which didn't really quite get the message of the original. But never mind. Yeah. So this is all built around the set where the movie took place, basically, and everybody went jumping through the window to suffocate on the planet.
Yep.
But that's what avatars do. And some of the more refined indoor areas here. More with I'm not going to even try reading out people's names. Too many of them, but that's the way it is. I've got quite a few here actually. Last resort. It's funny, you obviously capture them in these sort of GIFs a lot, but there's some grids that just don't have anything particularly special about them, but then you look at the colors and the animation, the whole mood of them, and it's actually that makes them click when you see light sources playing off people on the scene and stuff like that.
The fun of these places is that it's really interesting to go as a big group, and it's fun to be all together. But then the beauty of it is, as Tosha was saying, and here's a build by Tosha. It's so nice to go back later and just walk around on your own. Sometimes you can go at your own pace. Many times you see more things than you were able to absorb when you were in a big group, because so much is happening.
I really like that.
This, of course,
but that's
was
why I
heavily,
like
educational build there. So,
that's why I like Safari so much too, is because it gives you, it pushes you towards, it opens your mind towards new regions that maybe you never would see normally, and you can then just go there at your own time and at your own pace. I like that very much.
And we try and combine two destinations so that if one is not so much to your taste, and perhaps the other one will be more within your field of interest. But I think most of the time, most people can find something interesting in any build, because there's so much attention to detail, so much love
Well,
goes into these places.
I
So they're
I
all very
haven't
interesting.
I haven't found one region yet that I would, you know, leave and say, "Meh,
Yeah.
that was boring," or "that was not good," or "that was badly made," or something like that. I'm always just really fascinating of the quality of the building, of the creativity, of the imagination, and I really love it. I just any time I go to a new grid, a new region, I'm delighted, really.
Yeah, and the memories that can be built. And I loved going to see Angkor Wat, Tosha, because I don't think I'll get there for real. And so to walk around and feel the dimensions of that place was amazing.
Yeah,
And
yes,
then the
that's
culture
the
you
most
added with
interesting.
the researchers and the children, and that was great.
Mm. And have you seen the in the library? I have a link in the note card to one um, homepage about
Oh,
the
yes.
re-
Yep.
about the history of Angkor Wat. That
Hmm.
really is such a wonderful homepage. I've never seen a good one like that
Yeah,
before,
that was
really.
great. So rich in media. Yeah.
Ooh,
Mm,
I remember
exactly.
this. Prior to being sunk. Or was it this one? Or was it another? No, yeah,
That's
this was
no
the one that.
Titanic.
That's the one. Nah. Nah. Oh, yeah, it's Titanic where we got sunk. There's a lot of ships, actually, when you think about it. Um, I mean, one of the
This is
ones,
that.
Second Life, is multiple sims long, isn't it? I don't know how long some of the
Yeah,
ones.
so this one is very much taken, inspired by that. It's huge. It's a sim size, a region size ship, and that's why there was a lot of walking here too. But they have so many different environments in the ship. This is the storytelling area where each week you can come and sit down and enjoy a story, and that it's in the library. But then there's forums and there's cabins and
Huge.
there's restaurants, so many different things, shops, a great deal of fun. And this is on alternate metaverse grid. And we were taken around by Ted Jr., who also
Mm-hmm.
is responsible for the Dinky World of Fun. And I can see somebody sitting on the bridge,
Yeah,
which I'm
on the
not
Yeah.
really
control
sure what
board.
it's supposed to do.
Always finding a place to sit. I mean, actually, it's like a James is taking on the attributes of a pussycat, isn't he? Where sort of, oh, I'll sit there, and I'm right by you
I'll
and in the
claim it.
way.
Right.
Oh, sort of, you're working at your desk, and I'm beside you purring, and no, I shall jump up on your desk and get in the way, so you
On the
can't move your
computer
mouth, and
keyboard.
you can.
Right.
I don't know. A Spaxious place on Earth.
So
Full
yeah,
new.
I mean we're getting to the end of time probably, but I just wanted to point out that the Safari blog quite often has posts like that one, the Spaxiest place on earth, that are really not safari destinations because it wouldn't really be possible to do a safari there, like this one.
Hmm.
The that particular build, Spaxiest place on earth, is a take on Disney World, and you can only go there if you're dressed as a legacy avatar. If you have any kind of attachments of any kind, it will kick you out, so you can't stay there. So that's not really a very convenient place for the safari to go to because
Sure.
even if you warn people beforehand, they probably don't realize. So
Mm.
but it's such a beautiful, incredibly interesting build that it's good to have it in our archive of places to go,
Yeah.
even if maybe not an ideal place for a safari as such.
Yeah,
Oh,
I must
and
say it's actually those places we haven't been that you managed to cover that I think is an added bonus of your blog, really, because it's like, 1 minute it's a recap of where we've been. The next minute it's here's a place we can't go, but I recommend you individually go to, or something like that, and
Mm.
covering a lot more than what the safari on its own could do, really. So,
Well, also because this kind of place doesn't necessarily remain around for very long, because perhaps the person is not, not planning on being a long-term member of OpenSim. So you never know.
Mm.
If you don't take the opportunity to go and at least get some photographs and cover what it looked like and invite people to go and see it. And a couple of months down the road, it could disappear, as happened. The blog covers this year the Monet House in Serenity Grid, and also Mont Saint Michel. Both of those regions, which are some of the beautifulest regions that we have in OpenSim, are gone now, probably gone forever. So if you didn't get to go and visit them when they're open, your opportunity is gone too, which is a huge shame.
And may
I'm
I
finished.
point out one region that I would love Safari to go to, and that is I talked to you, Thirza, about it for a moment. That is Dante's Inferno. That is
Oh,
actually on
Ooh.
craft, and it's actually a school region and not open for public, but they would open it on a day
for a
that
visit.
we make a date so that the safari could go there. And I built part of it, not all of it. I built the Inferno part, not the
Fantastic.
Heaven part, and and there you can go. You just go. It is made by the well. It is made in the form of children a little bit. It's not a shocker. So because the book, if you read it, my gosh,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah.
uh, because at the
I'm just
occasion of
running quickly through some of the last week or two of the blogs, which of course we're out of season, so these aren't safari visits. They're more the ones we are just talking about, and a very like you've put in a few blogs like this, screenshots where it's you know um, displaying what it's like in world. You take a screenshot and you pull up windows with all this kind of information on it. This one you call what's in the no name check. You call this blog. I wasn't quite sure what you're getting there, but it's more of uh,
Oh,
a look
we,
in,
we
a
spent
look
the last
inside.
First names,
we spent
last
the last hour
names.
and a half doing a lot of name checking. So
Yeah, yeah.
Very, again, then the Christmas. This is the most recent blog. The Christmas mission on Third Rock. That's a nice picture. That was a nice build, whatever that is.
yeah,
It's like
the
a kind of flower, but not flowers. They're petals, aren't they? Sort of. That's a nice design now. And that's just somebody.
So here we have Alia Solstar. So today was the 1 year anniversary of um, the new look Star Trek build. The group here used to be affiliated with the Second Life Star Trek group, which was a huge group and had been around for a very long time. And they decided to start Starfleet Infinity. Alia was telling me they actually doubled their membership within hours of starting it, because their group is a bit more vivacious, let's say, and well organized than the group that was in Second Life. And this is Alia. She does everything. She does a lot of the mesh building. Hans does the scripting, but Alia also does a lot of the textures. She does a lot the website, for example. They made their own clothes for
Well,
the uniforms and stuff like that.
talking of clothes, is that a mini skirt?
I think that's a 60s style miniskirt. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I thought that is most unusual for a Star Trek costume. I mean, it's got the
I don't know. I
logo.
think
The next generation
you got
men
to
had
watch
mini
the
skirts.
Yeah, I mean,
there.
well, it's just a mini skirt, isn't it? I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. It just seems of odd
You're
for.
not convinced. Well, I
Yeah,
don't think they will force you to wear one,
No.
but
yeah. Oh, I don't mind at all.
And
It
that's
just
probably just as well.
I always think of Star Trek as sort of sticking with their line of non-provocative when it comes to things like
What?
I
that.
don't know. Those ladies back in the
No.
60s, they were pretty scantily clad.
But that's true. No, no. I mean, yes. Yeah, I got to admit, I remember. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but I remember.
So it is a very beautiful, even though they're actually having their party right now as we speak, to
Typical.
celebrate this 1 year anniversary. But this is just some pictures showing Alia in the ship as we've seen before. So this is a place that you can visit anytime, as we were saying. You can teleport up to the ships from the land, and it's a lovely place.
Right. Well, we haven't had time to show many of the actual movies, but actually, I'm having great fun here going through all the blogs. I think we can get through quite a lot when we're just flashing through like that. So we've actually included all the main ones we chose. Well, we've actually included almost every post, in fact, we chose for this season. I'm forgetting the days. Did the first season end in May, and then we reconvened after summer? Or
No, it ended in the end of March, and then we started
ah,
again at the end of April, I think.
oh, so it
Yeah,
was a quick turnover. Right, I was getting confused there because I thought we were on the first season, and then I noticed you put a couple of entries in which were in May.
from the
Uh,
second season. Yeah.
yeah, so there's actually 3 seasons in all. So
Yes.
I guess we'll do season 2 next week, and assume I mean, being the X day, or the X Eve, basically, we'll just have to hope that Elon Musk doesn't invade the show. But we'll get on with looking at season two, season 2 next week, and we might try and jam in a bit of season 3 as well, or maybe we'll leave that to a few weeks into the year. Well, I don't know. We're filling ourselves up with tasks to do. So no problem there. We'll be here forever and ever. So, and starting in January, this show will be 3 times a week.
Okay. Good luck
Thanks
with
for
that.
letting us know. Yeah,
That got you, didn't
that's
it?
maybe a solo broadcast.
Right.
Yeah, that got you. Yeah, I jest. I jest. I shall have to put on. Oh, hell, 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 hell. This is Santa Claus talking. I jest. I jest. I jest. Believe me, I do jest. I do jest. I think I jest. Wasn't that a jest? Yes, that was a jest. I'm sure it was. Yeah, you think so? Yeah. Yes.
You could
Jest.
make it
Just a
daily.
jest. Just a jest. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mel, you could make it daily.
Yeah.
That too would be a interesting prospect.
Steve, it's very much a Stephen King episode of the Inworld Review today.
Yeah. Yep, yep.
You're scaring the children.
Oh, I'm Santa Claus. I'm cuddly. I'm friendly. I think. Aren't I? Am I not?
Anyway,
Ruff,
so
ruff, ruff.
if you think about it, we've done 30 weeks
We
of
have
going
indeed.
on safari. That has involved two destinations each time. And there were usually about at least 10 of us on each safari. So, I think we've really brought a lot of people to see a lot of places. And I'm really looking forward to 2024, and hopefully we'll be able to go to just as many interesting places. Some of them will be return trips because perhaps there was something we missed the first time or a different region. So just masses and masses to see. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
It's getting a little late for me here, so
Yeah, well, we were late starting,
may have to-
unfortunately. If any of you are a bit distressed by our coming on late and lasting a bit late, then I have one message for you. There is a guilty culprit that you can endeavour to contact and complain to. However, they may not respond. Basically, I forgot the address. It's somewhere near Seattle. Red something. Their name is Microsoft Corporation. and they own an operating system which they can't leave well alone, and they do sometimes update it just when you're about to go on air with a show. What can I say? What can I say? Redmond, that's right. Not Virginia, but somewhere near Seattle. I don't know, Redmond or something. Yeah, so do address your complaints to the Microsoft Corporation. But if you have any messages of praise, etc., send them to us on Discord. We'll accept them direct if they're songs of praise. But if they're complaints, you send them to Microsoft. So just remember, we've got two avenues there. Praise to us, complaints to Microsoft. Simples. Right. Okay, this is where we wrap it all up. I would like to thank everybody for being here. James Atloud on my left, wonderful technical stuff, and obviously a regular Safari man himself. So thank you, James.
Yep, sure thing. Thank you for having us, Mal.
Thank you for biggest hostess with the mostest, Thirza Ember, who convenes
Thanks,
Safari
Mal.
as well as being a wonderful co-host on this program. So thanks, Thirza.
Thanks for another great show, Mel.
And our wonderful sitting guest this week, none other than Tosha Tyran, who is easily identified by the hair. But we covered that earlier, didn't we? Thank you very much, Tosha.
You're very welcome, and I'm really delighted. It was a pleasure as always being here.
Lovely. Pleasure having you too. In every manner of speaking. Right. Okay. How do I get out of here? I've forgotten. What's my outro line? I know what it is. I've forgotten it already. I knew I was addle-headed. I don't know what I'm going to be like next week, but part 2 of this show will be same time, same place next week, bar a Musk invasion, of course. So, for now, I'd just like to say very good morning. I'd also like to say a very good afternoon, and indeed a very good evening. And I ain't finished yet, because there's also the good tomorrow. And it all depends on wherever and whenever you are. Doesn't it? Look at this dragon. That's a good way to go out. I'm talking. See, am I the dragon, or am I trying to talk to a dragon? I don't know. Okay, so we will be back next week, and it's a wrap.